Welcome back, Kings of War fans, to another community update for this week, ending in the 31st of July 2020. Now, I was planning on making these bi-weekly or fortnightly, but I seem to be doing them every week because my adoring fans have demanded it. And when I say adoring fans, I mean just a couple of people eventually. And when I say a couple of people, really just Matt James made one comment one time, and now I feel guilty every single week. Why am I like this? Now, Joni from Mantic has been teasing some kind of hobby thing that he's been involved in for the last couple of weeks. He's finally unveiled what it is, and it's the Painters of Panathor challenge. A bunch of volunteers have agreed to start a new 1,000-point Kings of War army, or add 1,000 points to an existing one. They'll be updating the Mantic blog with their progress, including little stories of why they're doing it, what they're doing, a bit of fluff here and there, bits and bobs, you know where I am. And it's worth noting that Karl Krasinski is already cheating by having half his army already painted. I would expect nothing less. Now, we've featured quite a few campaigns played on Universal Battle in the last few months, but Louis Augustus has announced a face-to-face campaign now that lockdown has started to ease here in the UK. So much so exciting, but you might not know that Louis is very, very good at his background fluff and artistry and all that sorts of things. He's gathered compatriots from his London wargaming group, who are featuring their massive, beautiful, fully painted, backstoried, glorious armies. These look great, and I'm hoping they keep us nice and updated as the battles roll forwards. Assuming we don't all go back into lockdown because relaxing of social restrictions too soon leads to a massive upsurge in COVID-19. It's almost as if we never learn from the lessons we're seeing directly around us. Those of you who are still rotting in your hellhole houses and have been for months might be wanting to fill some of your time with podcasts. Well, Hard 6 have updated again with another episode featuring their new co-host Ben Johnson, directly from his Universal Battle Tournament fame, this time giving their perspective on Kings of War's magic system, such as it is. I really enjoy listening to Hard 6, their fresh take on the game, albeit coming from a Warhammer perspective, is kind of fun. And I'm fully hoping their Heroes and Monsters feature becomes some kind of mini-game within the game itself, because it's so good. I'm being sarcastic, it's terrible. And the lads at Lake Swat are back. Apparently they've recorded 7 episodes but just haven't released any, which is, well, it just makes no sense whatsoever. Anyway, this is a strategy episode with US Second Master Jeff Schlittgen. So what's a Second Master? Is that he was like the second ever Master? Or does it mean that he was second in the US Masters, which means that he's not the US Master? So it's an interview with somebody that's not US Master, just to be clear. He's probably still quite good at the game, though, right? Right? Yeah, better than me, not saying much. Todd Durkin is a new player who's posted up some of his units that he's created before even playing the game. I mean, talk about a tryhard. He's got backlighting, atmospheric effects, they've got models coming out of the ground. Bloody good job, look at that. I mean, it's a bit of a gamble. You could be terrible at it. I don't know, I'm sure you're not. I'm sure you're brilliant. As I've said previously, definitely better than me. So again, not saying much. Moving on. A couple of people have posted up their finished quarantine army projects, such as Annalise Peebles, who's posted up this enormous elf force that she's completed during quarantine, or Jonathan Quayle's huge orc force that he's posted up into the Greenskins Anonymous group on Facebook. I always admire people who have the restraint to wait until they've completed the entire army before posting it, because then also I only have to cover it once, without having to think up of amusing puns or hilarious quips and commentary every single time they post a model. I do always like an alternative take on an army's colour scheme, and Lance Holden in the Kings of War Australia group has really gone for it with these elf bolt throwers. And when I say gone for it, he's very much just picked random colours out of the back of his paint closet and just whacked them on the models. Good news is it looks really good. Matt Green has been pretty active on the Kings of War forums, posting huge photodumps of 4 of his armies. There's his Numidian, which he uses as Kingdoms of Men. League of Rhodia. There's his Dacians, which he uses as Varangur. There's his Goblins, which actually is a Mantic army for once. How about that? Is it Mantic? It's mostly Mantic. Yeah, it's all Mantic. That green's so good. And lastly, his Romans, which he also uses as Varangur or possibly Kings of Men. I love this. I know they're not Mantic models and we're supposed to support Mantic models, and I do support Mantic models, but check out the stuff he's got in this Roman army. It's just fantastic. It's such a great mixture. I mean, those Alohi alone are bonkers. Are they Alohi? How can you have Alohi in a Kings of Men army? I really don't think he's thought this through. Whatever. Nice models. Matt G's been posting more models than I can possibly keep up with, but of particular note is this pirate captain ogre wearing a full-grown shark. I mean, it's just nuts. And great too. Good job. You will be familiar with Visibly Riley from his very popular YouTube channel, and also getting drunk at Masters and not taking any photos. But what he's most famous for is playing with unpainted models. Therefore, it was a shock to everyone, including, I'm assuming, himself, when he posted a series of his painted models he uses at Kings of War. You use painted models for Kings of War, Riley? Really, though? These are great, by the way. Really nice. Like, excellent. Well, that's it for this week. All joking aside, we are switching to bi-weekly, so I'm going to be back in 2 weeks. That's 2 weeks. Anyone who complains is going to get a thrashing. And not even in a way that you might enjoy. Toodle pip.